SCP-001 When Day Breaks by SCP Illustrated. A lot of people have been asking for this new tale, Her Broken Brother. It's in reference to SCP-179, which is a Thaumiel SCP that I've never reacted to, but I did a little bit of research on it, so I hope that'll be enough to understand what's going on here. But feel free to teach me in the
Terminal 3
comments.
transmission, okay? Recording from researcher Aaron Murphy.
Make sure to check out SCP Illustrated too, guys.
My colleague Martha has recommended that I make a recording of the events that led up to where we are now.
Okay.
She thinks it will be good for me to talk. If not to a person, then at least something.
You need a vent, my boy? Talk to us. We're here for you.
Observe, and warn. That's pretty much what we do here at this observation point.
Okay.
We are just one of 4 identical sites responsible for the continuous observation of SCP-179.
Which is a Thaumiel SCP
Due to the inherent nature of our responsibilities, self-sustaining capabilities are a must. The dishes might be above, but the actual sites are underground in bomb-proof bunkers equipped with both agricultural facilities and synthetic protein processors, so that we won't go hungry.
Well, that's nice.
Our sites have to be fully staffed and functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
Not even a second must be wasted. 179's movements are a critical warning system for the Foundation.
That's right.
It's because of her that the Earth has been saved numerous times. But things are different now. And that last movement, that final image,
so she
burned
points
into
at
my mind.
things that may affect
I was
the
on
world
watch
in
duty
bad
along
ways.
with several other colleagues. Our main satellite relayed a crystal clear image
Like
of
that.
179. Her arm still pointed at that blasted storm on Jupiter.
Okay, a
We also
Jupiter
had a
storm.
second satellite in close proximity to 179 in case she spoke. It was able to analyze and translate her words. It had been a couple of years since her last movement, but this was par for the course. The record so far, according to our logs, was close to 10 years before she moved again.
Okay.
I was sipping my coffee when I noticed it. Her arms didn't move, but her face shifted. It went from calm to confused,
Then distress.
and then distress.
Holy crap, dude.
It wasn't until her arm dropped that the entire site went on full alert. We were used to arm shifts, as well as 179 pointing at different angles.
Right.
This was different. She wasn't pointing at anything. Then she turned away. Jason immediately jumped up from his chair and ran to an emergency terminal to alert the O5. This was new and undocumented.
Right.
Never before had 179 moved in such a way. Everyone around was in full panic, trying to make sense of what was happening. Books were thrown open, documents were spread out, data logs were accessed. Everything was being used to try and discern what was going on.
Right.
But me, I didn't budge.
Okay.
She had her back to the satellite that streamed the live feed to our site. She faced the son, who she referred to as her brother. She then began moving again, but not pointing. Her arms gestured as though she was speaking to her brother, the son.
Wow.
I didn't consider myself a leader or anyone special with authority, but I felt this needed full attention.
Broken
I
brother.
raised a hand and yelled,
Now
"Everyone!"
I'm starting to get it.
The chaos around me froze. Silence filled the room, and everyone was now watching the live feed. They could see exactly what I was seeing. Jason was still talking, relaying information to the O5. 179's gestures became more erratic, almost as if she was arguing. Her fists clenched up. To me, it seemed that she was shouting at the sun.
Don't make the sun
This went
mad.
on for a few more minutes before she stopped moving. Her head hung low, as though to indicate she had lost this argument. Then she turned back to the camera, still not looking up. The entire site gasped when she raised an arm and pointed at the sun.
That's not good,
She raised
y'all.
her head to face the satellite, and I could see the pain etched on her face. There was no question as to what this meant. SCP-179 now regarded the sun itself, her brother, as a threat to humanity.
Wow.
I'll never forget what I saw next.
Oh, that's crazy.
When you work
need
at
the
one of
sun.
the observation posts for SCP-179, you need to know 2 things. How to live underground for long periods of time, and how to read lips in French.
Right, she talks in
Thankfully,
French.
I was skilled in both. 179 moved her lips to form one single word. A word now entirely necessary for the plight we find ourselves in.
Which was?
Cacher. Hide.
Hide. Holy
She
crap,
began stringing
dude.
several sentences together, but as fluent as I am, I can't lip read another language that fast. It would take another 13 minutes before the translation would come through, so all we had for the time being was
Can
that
you
one word,
imagine, dude?
hide. Once she finished her last sentence, she dropped her head and her arm and curled up into a ball. And then it hit her. She burned a fierce orange as the sun's light scorched her. She just... it's hard to describe. She just came apart. Like dry sand being thrown in the air. 1 minute she was there, and then she was gone. Reduced to a cloud of dust and particles. The entire site went into emergency lockdown. No one knew what to do. Jason said that the O5 ordered everyone to stay in the site until further notice, which was super easy since we were all pretty
Yeah.
used to staying put.
Right.
Mary suggested that we switch one of the monitors over to the outside surveillance so we could see if any possible relief would be coming.
Yeah.
The main monitor, though, held only the image of the now designated threat. We all crowded around the surveillance monitor, watching two guards stand outside a decoy building to fool any would-be intruders.
Right.
We waited for a while, hoping something good would happen.
We were so wrong.
And
Oh,
boy, we were
can you
so
imagine?
wrong.
One word, hide. That's
One of the guards
scary,
looked at
man.
his hand, and then he just collapsed, followed by the other one the exact same way. They just kind of melted, reduced to a kind of soup in their own clothes. Then they sort of blended into each other and slithered away. Next, all the birds began
Like
to
the
fall from the
other
sky,
Day
and
Breaks
tiny particles of
videos.
flesh began to appear as all the insects and the bugs began to turn. The ground was moving, with thousands of fleshy, snake-like things all melting
It's like
into
the
each
sun
other.
just turned on us.
Everything then took on a very warm hue as the sky turned a burnt amber, like a sandstorm was upon us.
Right.
I looked around. Everyone was panicking. Nobody was taking action. Everyone was forgetting who they were. And I guess I had to be the one to remind everyone. We
We're
are
researchers.
researchers of the SCP Foundation. I called everyone to order once more, reminding them we had a job to do. Sanity slowly returned in the process. It didn't take us long to put the pieces together. 179's warning to hide could only mean to hide from the sun.
It was the sunlight.
It was the sunlight.
Mhm.
Jason immediately ran back to the emergency terminal and informed the O5 of this information.
Right.
We could tell that he was receiving a reply, but it certainly wasn't the kind of reply he or anyone else wanted to hear.
What did they say?
A few minutes passed and he slowly stepped away
He
from the
looks
terminal.
concerned.
He turned to the rest of us and said,
It's everywhere.
"It's everywhere."
Wow.
2 years later, and here we are,
Instantly.
just waiting
Just happened.
now. Our systems are starting to deteriorate now. Primarily the communication lines. Our on-site engineer topped himself only a couple of weeks in after finding out his family would... Well... We only get scraps of information now. A few members of the O5 are still out there, trying to fix this.
it?
They've tried a few different experiments, but nothing so far has worked. We've heard chatter that suggests they are falling back on a last resort, the final option to make things right again.
Like what?
A number of people here have already given up, and I don't blame them. I don't even argue anymore. I just ask that they do it quietly, so the things outside can't hear us.
Right.
Knowing what is coming, though, I can't help but find myself wondering, what's the point? What is the point in any of this anymore?
You could build it again, buddy.
I'll leave you
You're
with
the
the final
foundation.
recording we received from 179. For all she did for us, I truly hope she found peace.
Wow.
Aaron Murphy,
So there's a
179
recording
Observation
left
Site
over.
2, signing off.
What did she say?
Terminal 3, transmission end.
Hide. You must hide. By the time you hear this, it will already have happened. My brother, something is wrong. He
He's
is broken.
broken.
I don't understand what is happening. He is not himself. The ripples I once saw in the wake of the approaching monsters are gone, diminished by the waves coming from Zoel. I cannot stop this,
Zoel is
and
him,
neither
I
can
guess.
you. You must hide. Stay away from my brother's light.
It will corrupt you and
It
all
will
life.
corrupt all life. And not just here, but every world. Every world that can see him will see his light and feel his rage. I have failed the others, and I have failed you, and I have failed our home.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Dude, that hits deep, man. Such a beautiful drawing, too, and such a great tale that was written. God! These 001 end of the world type scenarios are always heartbreaking, but they're so powerful, man. Like, I always feel them pulling on my heart and almost jerking tears sometimes. Such a wonderful, well-written tale, guys. Y'all go check out SCP Illustrated. Thanks for doing this video, buddy. And a couple of 001 videos that I reacted to already. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.